Alright, welcome back to Nobody's Corner. And as you can see, we're going to be taking a look at one of my older flashlights, a 4Sevens Quark Mini 123. There's a tail cap logo. Of course, this runs a CR123. This one's been in here for a few years. At least it looks like it. Can't remember the last time I switched this out. So if I'm able to get it to fire up, we're probably not going to be too impressed by it. Now, this has been back to 4Sevens some years ago. Let's see if we can get that to focus. For complete failure. But if you see those two pieces of solder, let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. Those are reapplications of solder so that it would work after it failed. And it sort of works. I never really paid too much attention to the original. Just trying to clean up the threads there a little bit. You can see they're dirty. To the original set of solder points that were used for contacts. So I'm not sure if that's just what it was or if it had a better original setup. You can see the orange peel cone reflector there. And the emitter, I'm sorry I don't have all the specs on it, but you can look it up. This is one of the original Quark Mini 123s, not the newer ones with the higher output. And they may have discontinued this particular name for it. I'm sure they still have one of these 123 single cell, lanyard type. This is the original lanyard, so it's held up, my sweat and rain notwithstanding at work. It's fairly worn. The buttons, these actually used to be so you could cinch it around something. The spring pieces with the buttons on there have since broken, but it's alright. It's no big deal. Excuse me. So, see if we can get it to fire. So this is a twist UI. So see, it's twisted all the way tight and nothing. Now that's probably because of the solder joints. Let's try to get it to fire here. Got it to fire. There she goes. So that, I think, is probably low. And this is kind of a cyclical UI where you would get, low, medium, high. I'm not sure if it was in that order. And then you'd get a strobe function. So that I think is actually moonlight. You can see that's just barely on. Turn off that. So it functions, but you have to fiddle with it. And this is probably somewhere around 8 to 10 years old, I guess, whenever. Don't want to stop blinding you guys. Put the light back on. But it's a little disappointing that it's not a light with much more longevity. At least in a normal, easy to function, manner. I can get it to turn on by pushing down on the spring there. So it's not I think that's high right there. I believe back in the day this is supposed to be like 180 lumens or 190 lumens. It's probably a medium. That's a high. That's a high right there. That's probably near the 200 lumens. And I believe it's supposed to be cycle through twice and you get a strobe. There we go. There's a strobe. Hopefully the camera's picking it up. So it still runs. It's not the battery. It's just, again, those solder joints. See those tracks on either side, the outside of the wall right here and the outside of the wall right here. You can see where it was a dollop of solder and now it's been crushed by this surface right there, which is really how you get the connection throughout. You can see the spring back there. It's still fairly springy. I don't know if I can get it out of there. Oh, looks like I inverted it. There it is. See, so the spring's not collapsed or anything. It's still good. So I don't think it's a soft contact issue. See the inside of the case is still fairly clean. This has been on some backpacking trips with me and was used daily at my job for quite a few years. There we go. Got her back in the center. And these energizers, I've got more, but since I don't really use this light, I'm not gonna toast a brand new one on it and leave it in the garage or the storage room. See, it's full tight. You kind of have to back it up a little bit past full tight. So if you're gonna get one of these used, if you have access to it, make sure you inspect those solder points, test it out with a good battery, see how it's throwing, see how it's functioning. The lanyard doesn't really matter. You can throw on a new one with that little split ring through that hole right there. Gotta love the aged and distressed anodization there. The lens you can see is a little scratched. See right there. See some scratches. But I used to use this to go fishing, pulling catfish out of the local river at night. Out of a nearby lake as well. This one helped me spot a couple of turtles and gar in the water. So if you're looking into one of these, if it's used, ask them for a picture of those solder joints down there and ask them if they've already sent it in for repairs at any point. They used to have a pretty good warranty. I haven't kept up with 4Sevens any longer. But it's definitely a great light. I mean, it's tiny, in the palm of my hand. It's great, You don't have this whole lanyard thing. You can just toss it in a pocket, a shirt pocket, cargo pocket. Don't even need a holster for this one. All right, again, this is Nobody's Corner.